coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. As various online challenges circulate, encouraging youth to perform harmful acts and other dangerous tasks, Saskatchewan RCMP are reminding parents to take an active role and limit computer access for their children.
Yes, absolutely. There are lots of problems here in Swift Current, like for the Filipino community.
March 21st is the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and communities across Canada will be hosting various events to mark the occasion. Here in Swift Current, representatives of various community groups recently gathered to discuss the framework for a noon hour event on March 15th. With the federal election set for this fall, David Anderson has announced that he will not be seeking another term as MP for Cypress Hills Grasslands. Thanks for joining us here today. Cyberbullying is a growing concern, and RCMP are offering some advice to youth and parents. We're living in an era where technology plays a big part in our everyday life. And as many log onto the internet on a regular basis, there's a growing concern for protecting youth from cyberbullying and other harmful messaging. And as various online challenges circulate, encouraging youth to perform harmful acts and other dangerous tasks, Saskatchewan RCMP are reminding parents to take an active role and limit computer access for their children.
But parents can always be aware of, and they should be checking with their kids as to what sites they are visiting on the internet. Practice that art of communication with their kids. Talk to them about what they should do if they do encounter someone that's trying to bully them or harass them on the internet. Something else they can do is make sure that they have access to their kids. Electronic devices. Put that computer in the kitchen so you know, or the living room so you know what your kids are looking at.
And with 24/7 access to all digital services, it can be difficult for anyone experiencing cyberbullying to find relief. Therefore, if a threat does occur, you should seek help immediately.
Especially if you have been compromised, you still need to come forward because these individuals will continue to do it, even if they tell you, oh, it's only one time, do this one time and then we'll leave you alone. They aren't going to leave you alone. They're going to continue to exploit you, and you need to go to somebody that you trust, be that a parent or a police officer or a teacher or somebody that you can confide in that this has happened to you so that it doesn't continue.
Being a victim of an online scam or threat can happen to anyone of any age. Therefore, it's advised to never give out any personal information to someone you don't know on a face-to-face basis. And if you are suspicious of any emails, Facebook messages, or telephone calls, contact your local RCMP. A number of Swift Current organizations are working together to host an upcoming event at Market Square. We find out what that is in this report. March 21st is the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and communities across Canada will be hosting various events to mark the occasion. Here in Swift Current, representatives of various community groups recently gathered to discuss the framework for a noon hour event on March 15th. Ikashana Degala is the executive director for the Southwest Newcomer Welcome Center and says the event will include numerous speakers discussing racism, which she hopes will start a conversation in the community.
Hopefully we could make people, once people are aware, they could question themselves. Am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution? If I want to be part of the solution, what am I going to do? How am I going to address these issues that are brought before me, right? Because if we don't expect, it doesn't have to be in an organizational level or community level, but individual level would be great if there's a change within a person on how they'd be more respectful, more welcoming in the community. That would be a great accomplishment for that event. And hopefully after that, we would continue talking with the different organizations and see how we can address these issues moving forward.
A topic which many at the table agree needs to be discussed, as Swift Current has become more multicultural over the years. And as the Filipino community now makes up 5% of the population, Their members are just one of many groups wanting to be heard.
Yes, absolutely. There are lots of problems here in Swift Current, like for the Filipino community. I'm just speaking in behalf of the Filipino community. I've heard some of my kababayans or some other Filipinos message me through social media that they've received that very vicious feedbacks or comments in their workplace from customers, from the people in the community, and I think it's impacting our growing community here in Swift Current, and I want to be able to provide support to them also and reach out and find other venues on how to provide support. There are lots of discussion furthermore that we are looking forward in the near future, but I think the city of the Swift Current, like the government here, should spearhead this initiative because I think they are the most impactful organization that would really contribute to this cause.
The aspirations of being a welcoming community to all is a concept which the Kiwanis Club of Swift Current adheres to in its mandate as a local service club and has canceled its regular Friday member luncheon to participate in the March 15th event.
Well, we just think that this is a key event in our community, and you know, we like individuals and other organizations really need to learn what racism is and take it beyond that awareness and find opportunities to be actively involved in, as I said, you know, welcoming people to our community and helping them to see ways that they can contribute in a meaningful way.
The Southwest Newcomer Welcome Center and its partnering agencies invite everyone to attend the noon hour event on March 15th at Market Square and help stop racism in our community.
Hi, I'm Victor Sakowski. I'm from Regina. I grew up in the Garlic Flats where we had a lot of gardens, and I became a sculptor, and I show my work at the Slate Gallery. In 1972, I was in an international show in Japan, and I was asked by the Arts Canada magazine back then to write the show up. So, you know, they paid me to fly to Japan to see the show and to meet the people in the National Gallery in Tokyo, and then again in Kyoto, and then write the show up. And while I was there, I got fascinated by Japanese construction. I loved the way they build their buildings. They were so natural somehow, and you know, I enjoyed what they did with their parks and with their plants. And I'd be looking at these little bonsais, and I thought, these things are absolutely wonderful. Some of them 500 years old, but people are still looking after them. And at one point I figured I'd buy one and take it home, until I realized and talked to people about it, what kind of care you need to give this little bonsai. And I figured, you know what, thanks, but I'm not, you know, I won't buy one, but I'll make my own. And that's when I first started making my bonsais. And they were smaller bronze pieces, but they developed into this piece that you see here. It's a kind of a nest bonsai, and with some fruit and stuff in it. So I made dozens of those. Having a show in Regina, and Susan Whitney was the curator of the show. And it was a brand new opening called the Kisa Gallery, which didn't last. But we were having a show, and we were all asked to bring some new pieces. It was fall. We were already canning, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make some real preserves. When you fire something in clay, it's well preserved. So I started making these jars of pickles, and I think I made gallons of pickles, of corn, of beets, beans, and I think red peppers. And they were a hit in the show. You know, people just snapped them up, and then the people who bought the gallon of cucumbers wanted to buy the corn as well. And I figured, you know, there's something interesting here, you know, maybe I've got something going here, which will be like a print series, where you do an edition, and I've been doing it since '74. I still do it, and I have people who've built 3 pantries on their own. Every year they phone me, is there a new jar? Is there a new jar? And it's always like Christmas for me, because I come up with a new idea and I fire it and it works really well. And then I've got all these people who are interested.
Well, as the fall federal election approaches, MP David Anderson's name will not be on the ballot. With the federal election set for this fall, David Anderson has announced that he will not be seeking another term as MP for Cypress Hills Grasslands. David Anderson has been the Conservative Party MP for the riding since 2000 and has held numerous portfolios over the years, including Shadow Cabinet Secretary for Human Rights and Religious Freedom, and the official opposition critic for agriculture, parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources. A nomination meeting is expected to be held in the coming weeks by the local Conservative Party executive to select a new candidate to run in the Cypress Hills Grasslands constituency in this fall's federal election. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at southwesttvnews.com. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.